All right, guys. I know some of you joined the webinar it was on Monday. And I want to rework it because there was a lot of things that I didn't get to touch on. There was a lot of questions being asked and things like that in terms of just ChatGPT in general. And I didn't feel like I was able to teach you guys kind of the goal setting aspect of it. So this is going to be, I'm going to rework it and I'm going to pull up ChatGPT and I'm going to have you guys take a look at it and I'm going to walk you through how I felt like it should have probably ran the first time. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here so I can see what you guys are seeing. So we're going to do Chat GPT here. Share. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on a little bit. I'm going to zoom in a little bit bigger for you guys because some people said that they were having some problems seeing it. So um, we're not going to get into a ton of the actual like chat gpt stuff about you know the difference in the ways you can do it and the different things like that. So I am going to kind of give you a brief overview of chat gpt and then we are going to get right into kind of the goal setting side of things. So we are going to be in this one, we're going to be using the projects tab. And the difference between the project tab and just the regular chat gpt is the fact that you can give it custom instructions. If you're just using chat gpt, it's going to remember all the things that you kind of already told it. So it's going to have a bunch of different stuff because it kind of remembers everything. And we're going to use the projects because the projects, when you click on it, so we're going to start a new project. We're going to call this goal planning for my business. So we're going to say goal planning. And we're going to actually create a fake business here. So we're going to do goal planning for Jason's Cat Cafe. All right. So Jason's Cat Cafe. So we're going to say Jason's Cat Cafe has been open for about a year. We want to plan for next year. So what we're going to need is we're going to be able to, we're going to have to kind of explain to ChatGPT what we wanted to do. So when you go to create project, what it's going to do is it's going to come up and it's going to ask you this here. So it's going to say new chat in the project. And now here and here it's going to say, what files do you want to put in? And we're going to say add instructions and we're going to tailor it the way we want it to respond to this project. So what we want to do here first is we want to add some files. So what I have, and let's see if it'll actually show up for you. So I did the docs needed for goal setting. So um, what this document is going to look like is it has all of your, it's going to have rough ideas of a lot of information about the goals that you have, the goals you had last year, the numbers last year in terms of finances, your unique proposition. It's going to have your mission statement. So anything that you can put into a document about your business in terms of how you run your business, how you run your employees, how many employees you have, how much money you made, you're going to want to put all this in this document. So when I go to add files, in this project, it's going to know all this stuff. So I already did that. So it's already has that in here. So if it shows up, and I don't think it's going to, so we're looking at this, and then we're going to click out of here, and it's going to show up right here. So let me see if I can show you the untitled document. So there's two here. So this is the mock document, the mock business that I had taught. That I had kind of created, and I had ChatGPT create this. But what you'd want to do is this is pretty much the stuff that you want to do in terms of the business overview account. So your year one highlights, it shows revenue, you made $250,000. Cats adopted, you adopted 120 cats. Customers served, you served over 15,000 customers served. Fantastic. You were featured in best coffee shops in Toledo, Ohio. And then it goes into your unique selling proposition. So your unique selling proposition is one of a kind experience, blending love for cats and high quality coffee and pastries, offering visitors a chance to relax and adopt a furry friend. That is the unique proposition. So it gives you all, I have in this document all the information that you should ideally need for this thing to be able to set you up for your goal for 2025. So, and then on section 2, it has your marketing plan. It talks about your social media strategy, local advertisement, seasonal promotions, lead magnet, It has your customer persona profiles. And this, honestly, guys, this is what you should need when you're starting your business or when you have your business. And I can go ahead and tell you right now, I didn't have any of this when I started my business. And ChatGPT and AI has been very influential in how I am tailoring my business now and how I want my business to run. So, and you don't have to have all of this. You can actually ask ChatGPT to assume the role of a business analyst, and you guys can walk through all this too. So this is just a mock thing I had it create for me. But if you already have an established business that has all this information, this is awesome for you because you already have pretty much all of this here. So and this is a document at the end. If you guys are interested in this, I have no problem emailing. So anybody who is registered, I'm going to email this over, and I'm going to email all the prompts that I was supposed to use in the first webinar. I'm going to show you some of the prompts that I did in this webinar, or I'm going to do in this one. So hopefully it'll give you a better idea, and we can cut through all of the other questions and stuff that we talked about in the first webinar. Section 4 has monthly sales and adoption. So it talks about revenue. So it talks about $18,000, $5,000 in adoption fees. You were adopting about 15 cats a month, and you had 80 daily visitors for foot traffic. So, and this is all stuff, guys, if you were running a business, you should probably have all of this somewhere. And in the first webinar, there was a lot of concerns about uploading information that was sensitive information. So I went down a rabbit hole about how ChatGPT actually handles your information. And basically what it does is anything that you add to it, it basically scrubs it after you log out, and it keeps it, it does not keep it in its servers. It uploads to a server, and that is where all of their stuff is because it's a cloud-based AI. And if they use any of your prompts or any of your information or the questions that they use, they scrub any information that's private information out of it. So if you have some concerns about uploading anything like this into ChatGPT, you can download their terms and services and the way they handle their stuff. And there's actually a button at the top in the settings that you can say, do not save my information, and don't use it to make your servers better. So when it comes to there was a lot of concern from the first webinar about privacy and things like that. And the fact of the matter is this is all this stuff is fake right now. You don't have to put the name of your business. You can kind of say, this is business A, this is ideally how much revenue I made, these are ideally my customers, things like that. So you don't have, I'm not telling you to put in your social security numbers or put in anything that's that vital, because really the fact of the matter is the more information that you can give ChatGPT, the better off it's going to be for you. So the less amount of information you give it it's just going to give you some pretty not so flattering information. So that was really the biggest concern in the first webinar. So I'm going to squash that right now, and we're going to get right into it. So if you don't feel comfortable with putting your information in ChatGPT, this is not the webinar for you. So you should probably go ahead and log out now, and I can save you about another 40 minutes of this webinar. But if you are interested in growing your business with AI, I'm going to go ahead and keep going. So we are talking about, where are we? We're talking about event calendar. So we're talking about some events that you have lined up in 2025. Number 6 is financial projection for year 2. So you ideally should want to know, because it's going to ask you about your goals. So you are going to say you want to increase your revenue by 25%. Your budget allocation, marketing is 15%, operational cost is 60%, and inventory is about 25%. Campaign ROI on expectations for social media ads. You want a 4-to-1 ROI, and you want a 3-to-1 ROI for your campaigns in store promotion. So, and if this stuff is you don't understand a lot of this stuff, you can put this stuff in and ask ChatGPT what it means and have it explain further what that when it says like a 4-to-1 ROI. So basically it means you want to get 4 times the amount for every dollar you put in. So you put in $1, you want to get 4. You put in $1, or you want in $1 for your in-store promotions, you want to be able to make 3. So that's pretty much that 4-to-1 ratio, 3-to-1 ratio for ROI. So and again, if you don't understand some of that stuff, you can ask ChatGPT and it can explain it for you. You literally have a business analyst in your pocket that can teach you a lot of really cool stuff. So it asked to add some customer testimonials, so it talks about some testimonials. Prompt engineering example. So this is when we're actually doing prompt engineering right now for ChatGPT. So it's going to give you some examples that you should maybe use. It has your employee handbook, so it has basically the rules and the standing operating procedures for your business, and then it has a press release template. So it's going to give you a press release if you want to do any type of events or anything like that. So pretty cool, right? It spit this all out for me. I asked it to give me all this information so I could teach you guys what you should be able to ask ChatGPT. So it spit it out for me, and then we're going to get into a lot of the other stuff. So we're going to go back into ChatGPT, and it has those files in there, so it's going to understand all this stuff. So when you go into add instructions, this is what it needs to know. So I'm going to say, use the file that we added and assume the role of a business and don't ding me on my grammar, because that's why I actually have Grammarly here. So it'll tell me that I spelled that wrong, and then it fixes it for me. Accept. Cool. So it's going to say use the file that we added, assume the role of a business analyst, and let's create some 2025 goals for our business. So when you're creating the instructions here, and we'll dismiss this because Grammarly is going to give me 50 different ways that I can make it better. But so it says use the file that we added and assume the role of a business analyst, and let's create some 2025 goals for our business. So when you have this here, you're going to go ahead and save it. So it's going to already know what it is. So this is the big thing that we kind of talked about in the first webinar that I think I need to explain in this webinar, is the fact that if you don't explain and don't put in the instructions, or you don't, when you're doing a new prompt and you're prompt engineering, if you don't tell ChatGPT what it should be, it doesn't understand what it should be. So it doesn't know what role to assume. So you always have to tell it what role to assume, so it knows where it should be getting its information from. So now that it knows it's the business analyst, I don't necessarily have to say assume the role of a business analyst, because it already knows that it is. So if I say in this chat, what are you? And it's probably going to give me some snarky response. I'm an AI assistant designed, blah, 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 blah. But it says right here, so it says whether it's your business, personal, or objectives, I can create endeavors, specialize this documents. For example, I can assist you for creating goals for Jason's Cat Cafe, developing a marketing plan, crafting engaging content for social media, analyzing financial projections. Let me know how you'd like me to assist. So it knows that it is a business analyst. So it's going to tell you it's an AI assistant. And that was what I'm telling you guys. Use it to assist you in how to grow your business. So now that we know what it is, we can kind of go into some of the prompts that I already had available, that I already had put in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of these prompts. And even though it already says that it knows that it's a business analyst, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this because it's just going to make it easier. So copy. Okay, so paste. What it's going to do is it's going to say, act as a business consultant to help me identify my 3 business goals. And then I have it written as a generic prompt. So it's going to say insert business type, target audience, and key challenges. So it already knows this because we added that in there. So we can go ahead and remove this and say, see file attached, and then tell it to suggest some measurable outcomes for each goal. And then what I open this when I talked about this in the first webinar, but you make sure that you ask it to ask you any clarifying questions after every prompt. So ask me any other questions needed. I'm going to say, based on the profiles that we did about the file in Jason's Cat Cafe, here are the 3 strategic business goals in 2025, along with the measurable outcomes. So this is what we asked to do. So we already talked about the goal. The goal for annual revenue was to grow by 25%. So that's $312,000 increase over the measurable outcomes. So the measurable outcomes is if you have a monthly revenue of 26,000, you'll know you're hitting that. You should be hitting that goal. There'll be some months that are probably worse. There's some months that'll be better, but if you know you're about right there, you should be good. To achieve the revenue breakdown, such as 225,000 from coffee and food sales, and then 85 from the cat adoptions and promotions. So you want to make sure that you're breaking that down to see where you're kind of making your money. Goal 2 is to boost your cat adoptions, facilitate the adoption of at least 150 cats during the year to align with your mission and your community impact. You need to have a monthly average of 12 adoptions. So this is something that you can talk to your team about and know that they know basically what the goals are. And if your team knows what the goals are and you're all energized about it, it makes hitting your goals much, much easier. Anybody will tell you when I was a manager for a restaurant, if we got everybody engaged and everybody got really excited for hitting the goals and we made it a challenge and fun and everything else, it made things much, much easier for my P&L to look really, really good. They just wanted it to be fun, engaging, and they liked what they do. So, but they all knew my numbers when I was running restaurant. They all knew the numbers, they knew what to hit, and they all shared in the wins when we shared in the wins. And then when we got losses, we all got together and figured out how we can make things better. So make sure your teams know these numbers or these goals. So Goal 3, enhance brand awareness and community engagement. Position Jason's Cat Cafe as the go-to destination for coffee and cat lovers. Measurable outcomes, grow your social media following by 30%. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Increase your overall daily traffic by 20%. So that's 96 visitors a day. So if you have all these numbers, it's giving you the new numbers for you. So you can host successfully execute in 12 events such as cat yoga, coffee and cat meetups with at least 20 attendees each. So if you can max out your events, then you can actually tell chat that these are doing very successful for us. How can we come up with more ideas? You can ask it that too, which it might actually ask us in these questions. So these are the follow-up questions because we asked it to ask more questions. So it's going to give us what we wanted to go or what we want. So it's going to say revenue diversification. It's going to say introduce new system streams such as merchandise and partnerships. That could work out really well. You could partner up with a pizza shop and do dinner, or you could do something else. Merchandise always works out really well because people love to wear merchandise for cat adoptions and things like that. Target market expansion. Do you attract new customers in different demographics? So that could be a different way we could do that too. Operational improvements. Are there overall challenges that you'd like to address? Inventory management, employee training. If you have inventory, you can input your inventory, 3 months worth of your inventory, and find out where you can maybe cut costs. So you would put that in that file as well. Feedback systems. Do you implement any new customer feedback mechanisms to enhance your services, like testimonials or reviews or anything like that? So you can go ahead and you can answer all of these, or you can answer none of them and say, go ahead and give me more options. But it's waiting for another prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot up to my document again, that you guys can't see because you can only see the one screen. But again, these are prompts that if you guys want them and you are registered, or reach out to me if you've watched this webinar, if you're interested in these prompts, because I have these as freebies for you guys too. So the next prompt, which is part 2, is reviewing past performance. And the prompts, what questions should I ask myself to evaluate the business performance in 2024, focusing on sales, customer retention, and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. And these are all prompts that you can use them separately if you're looking for certain parts of your business, because I have it broken out into parts. So the part one was overall performance. Part two is reviewing your past performance. Part three is understanding market trends. Number four is competitor analysis. Number five is refining your unique value proposition. A lot of times people don't even have one. Part six is setting marketing and sales strategies. A lot of people struggle with marketing. This would be very interesting for people to try to figure out how they want to market their business. Part seven is forecasting financial goals. A lot of issues that I talk with business owners that they have is figuring out their finances. Part eight is enhancing customer relationships. This is usually the one that people have a good grasp on when they get customers in the door. They do a really good job of getting their customers. But how do you keep them coming back? That might be another question you could ask. Part nine is building an action plan. So once you put in all these prompts, you're going to ask it to build you an action plan, which is kind of already doing right now. And then part 10 is wrap up and next steps. And you just write what steps should I do to achieve my goals? And it will give you the blueprint on how to do all that. So let's go back up to prompt 2, which is reviewing your past performance. So I'm going to go back into ChatGPT. I'm going to say, this was the prompt. What question should I ask myself when evaluate my business in 2024, focusing on sales, customer retention, and marketing efforts? So these were the questions I asked Chat because it's usually the questions that I talk to when I'm talking with my clients, the biggest problem they have. So I'm going to ask it to provide me a step-by-step process to assess my strengths and weaknesses. So it has that file. So it's going to go back to that file and it's going to figure out what my strengths and weaknesses are. So all right. So we put it in there. So these are the questions that you should probably ask yourself, and then you can explain. You can write all this in here. So do we meet or access our goals for 2024? If not, why do you think? What were the primary sources of revenue? So this is a big one because you want to know what your primary sources of revenue is because you want to figure out how you want to market your business. So me as a social media manager, ask my clients this a lot is what makes you the most amount of money with the least amount of effort or inventory in terms of money. So people will tell me, okay, well, these are the things that usually make us a lot of money, but how many do you have to sell when you could sell one big product and maybe you could make a lot less? So when we're trying to figure out lead generation and ads and things like that, do you sell a 15 smaller products or could you sell 5 expensive products and it make you a lot more? So that's usually the big question I'm asking. So this is what it's asking you too. Were there any seasonal trends in sales performance? So when you're talking about a lot of times with those ebbs and flows of business with holidays just ending, usually I see people having problems with January and typically February in the colder months here in Ohio. So it's going to ask you that too. Which products or services perform the best and which ones performed and which ones underperformed and why? So again, these are all questions that if you haven't asked yourself, you need to ask yourself to figure out your goals for 2025. What was the average customer transaction value? This is one that a lot of people don't know. And if you can raise your average ticket by 15, 20%, it really makes things really easy for foot traffic. When I was running a coffee shop, it was, we always were asking if they wanted to add a pastry because, you're selling a coffee for $1.95. Well, you can bump that up to $5.25 when you're offering some type of pastry and your average ticket goes up by a lot. Average ticket goes up. Tips usually go up based on how much people are buying. So that is how I explained it to my team. And they knew if their average ticket went up, their tips typically went up and they made more money. And that was really what was driving them was the fact that they liked to make more money. And it was really cool competition because we kept a board and we found out who had the highest average ticket and it became a competition and it turned out really, really well because everybody shared tips anyway. So that is another good way to be able to do that. Let's see, customer retention. What percentage were repeat customers? And this is where your point of sale station should be able to tell you who is your repeat customers and who isn't. The customer retention rates improve. So it's going to ask you a whole ton of questions, guys. But these are the questions that you might not have asked yourself. So I think this is going to work out really, really well once you get all this stuff done. So really, when it comes to marketing efforts, and this being my field of specialty, this is the questions that I usually ask people a lot, and a lot of people have no idea what has worked for them or what doesn't work for them. So this is the step-by-step process. So you're going to collect all that data. You're going to analyze the performance metrics. You're going to evaluate your strengths. You're going to identify your weaknesses. You're going to gather all those customer insights. You're going to review your marketing ROI, prioritize what improvements is what's basically going to make you money or what's losing you money. Develop an action plan, reflect on your strategic alignment, and then step 10 is going to be monitor your progress, which you're going to have probably, I would typically say monthly checkpoints. That's what I do with clients when I do consulting is I meet with them at the beginning of the month and I meet with them at the end of the month and I say, okay, where's your marketing efforts going? What is working for you? So with that being said, you can ask it any follow-up questions, or you can say, can you be more specific on step 9? And it will give you really anything else. So we say, if I wanted to do gather customer insights, step 5, I could ask it, can you give me a deeper understanding of step 5? So it's going to give you a deeper dive on step 5. So instead of those 2 bullet points, it's going to tell you how you could do it. So it's going to say feedback surveys, online reviews, social media comments. I know a ton of people who get a ton of comments that have no idea and have not responded on them. Big issue. Google reviews are another way to bump you up in. Everybody asks me, they're like, how do I get on page 1 of Google? Respond to your reviews with keywords in your responses. If I'm a cat cafe or somebody was adapted, somebody said, "Oh, I can't believe I adopted Fluffy from Jason's cat cafe," I would say, I'm really glad you enjoyed our coffee. I'm glad you adopted our cat from our cat cafe. Come back any other time. We'd love to have you, because we're adding keywords and we're stuffing keywords into our responses of our reviews. Direct interactions, note feedback received for face-to-face interactions. Everything you write down. When I was running a restaurant, we had a book that if there was any problem with employees, any problems with customers, everything went in the book, and our shifts had to read it every day and then initial it, so everybody knew who was on the same page. So analytics tools, there's different website analytics, so you can do that. Use social media tools. You can use Facebook Manager. You don't have to have some third-party tool. You really don't. Purchase data, so you can track data, so you can do geofencing and different things like that. And then here's the key questions to ask. So again, you can go down a big old rabbit hole of the things that you think make more sense to you, but these are the prompts that you want to be asking it. And like I said, if you guys registered or after you watch this webinar, if you're interested, reach out to me and I can give you these documents that I have, because again, there's 10 prompts that can really grow your business in 2025, guys. So we're going to do understanding market trends. So this is one that a lot of times people have issues with. So I'm going to do this one because this one's near and dear to my heart, because marketing is kind of my thing. So let's go back into ChatGPT. We are going to paste that in based on my industry. So I'm going to write cat cafe. Cat cafe. What are the top 3 trends in 2025 and how can I leverage them? This is the question I get all the time, guys. And let's see if it would probably give me the same answers. So it's going to search the web. It's going to base it off of industry insights. So this is where, like I said, the prompts I'm giving you are generic prompts, but you can add your industry when you take out those parentheses. Okay, let's see what it gives us. Trend 1, 2, and 3. And I mean, it's going to give you 1, 2, and 3, but you can ask for more. So you can say, I don't like that. Cat cafe industries experienced significant growth in recent years. Over 50 new cat cafes have opened up in the U.S., largest annual increase since the first cat cafe opened in 2014. Just going to give you a brief, and again, this is any other industry. You can say real estate, you can say candle making, you can say e-commerce, you can say pretty much whatever you want. We're just doing Cat Cafe because my kids and I always talk about, and my wife always talk about opening one, and then they've opened up like three around us. So I guess it wasn't not a big thing. So that makes sense to me because it says they've experienced significant growth because the first one I ever went to was in Orlando, and now we have one in Bowling Green, we have one down in Columbus, I believe, and then we have one coming in Toledo. So my window for Cat Cafe dream is probably closing pretty fast. Um, so how can we leverage this trend? It's still a unique offering. Differentiate your cafe by introducing exclusive events. You could do cat and jazz. You could do cat and yoga. You could do cat and poetry. Anything that you think people want to sit and sip coffee and play with cats. You could do an open mic night. You could do so much acoustic guitar. You could do so many different things just based off of these things here. But you would ask it to expand and you would ask it to do this, but this is just off the top of my head what I would tell you to do. Expanding in community engagement, host community focused events like adoption drives, charity fundraisers, things like that. Easy to do, optimize customer experience, invest in cozy, inviting atmosphere, beverages, snacks, give them the VIP experience, man. So nobody wants, nobody wants to walk into a cat cafe and sip coffee when it smells like ammonia or cat pee. Make sure that your standards are very high if you're a cat cafe. Trend two, emphasize on health and wellness. That's pretty much what it's going to tell you right now. Let's see, promote cat wellness, host wellness events, offer health conscious menus. So this is all stuff that I would 100% tell people to do. Integration of technology, very interesting in enhancing your online presence. I would be doing so many reels of cats. I tell you what, it would be crazy. The way I would probably handle the social media of a cat cafe. Implementing online booking. So a lot of times, if you don't know cat cafes, you have to block out times to be able to sit with the cats. You can't just walk in, and that would probably be the thing that I would do differently. Is the fact that deters me from going to them is the fact that I have to book. I have to do all this. I had to jump through all these hoops to be able to get coffee and sit down. So it makes it kind of difficult for you to just be able to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and sit down with some cats. So I understand why they do it. I've researched it again, but this process to be able to book and everything else is a big thing. So that would be something that I would focus on if I actually owned one. Hosting virtual events. Not necessarily sure how I would do that, but I would probably ask it to expand on how to host virtual events. So that is what it pretty much gave me. And then you can ask any other questions. But to save time, we're going to just go on to prompt three, or we're going to go on to another prompt. This one will be interesting because this is competitor analysis. So we're going to do copy, competitor analysis, which is going to be hard because I don't necessarily know how many competitors there are, but I'm going to say in this industry, so I'm going to say Cat Cafe. Cafe in Toledo, Ohio. Or you could say Northwest Ohio, whichever one you want to say. But I'm just going to say Toledo, Ohio. Let's see what it gives me. Because I wanted to do the analysis in Toledo because I don't really necessarily care about what's going on in Orlando. But here's the step-by-step approach. You would identify key competitors, local competitors, a list of other mother. So I'm going to ask it. I'm just going to stop right there and say, can you identify key competitors? And competitors in, I'm just going to say Ohio. I'm going to scroll down here because it's going to give me. All right. So we do have some competitors. So here are some key competitors in the industry of Ohio, along with their locations and offerings. So we're going to say one is over there in Cleveland. There is one in Columbus. Where's the other one? Looks like Dayton. So the one in BG hasn't even showed up, but I know there is one, but it clearly didn't find it. But then what you can do is you can actually look at this different stuff, or you can look at the directions, the website, or your column. So you can, when you're doing your analysis, you can actually pull these up and look at them individually. So by analyzing the three competitors, you can gain insights of their strengths, weaknesses, identify market gaps, to develop strategies to differentiate your cat cafe in Toledo, Ohio. So um, competitor analysis is a really cool thing. Just make sure you're telling it to specifically if you have, and they'll scan their website. They will make sure that you are competitive in the area. Just for me, to be completely honest, like I'm looking at my the package that I have for social media to figure out if I'm competitive in Toledo area and across the industry, because I don't want to be lower or higher. And it's telling me that I'm much lower than other competitors in the area. So it's something that I have to look at when I'm remaking my social media packages. So, um, but that is another really cool prompt that you can do just to be able to maintain your analysis. And like I said, if you go to the left here, you're going to have the AI assistant introduction. So it's going to all be here in your project. So you got goal planning for Jason's Cat Cafe, and then you have the AI assistant introduction, and then you can actually switch and you could do a new chat. So if you wanted to break all these up into different categories, you could do a new chat in the planning for Jason's Cat Cafe or your business. So this is why I like using the projects instead of using a custom GPT or just using ChatGPT, because it's really hard to keep all of your threads in one location. So that is why I really like the new projects feature. They just released it in late December. So if you guys haven't used that yet, I would highly recommend that you use that. Because it kind of acts like a custom GPT. And if you guys don't know what a custom GPT is, we'll get into that in maybe a different conversation at some point. But basically, this is like a project that it just gives you, it knows what you're telling it, but it still remembers a lot of the stuff that you talked about with your other regular chat GPT. So, but what is basically showing you guys is you could create some really awesome goals with this. And then when you're done with it, you can say, okay, now give me a blueprint for my goals in 2025. What it's going to do is it's going to give you all of your goals, and it should be able to give you, so basically it's going to tell you what your strategies are. And again, like I said, you can say, can we expand on leverage technology? And instead of it giving you these 2 bullet points, it will give you a lot more information. So you want to facilitate the 150 cat adoptions. So again, the more information it keeps spitting out, and then you narrow it down, this is where you're going to get some really cool information about pretty much anything. But this is technically your business, and it might tell you some things that you like about your business. It might tell you some things you don't like about your business. But a lot of times when I'm talking to my bot, I tell it to be brutally honest with me. I tell it exactly how to think. I tell it how I want it to respond to me, because I don't like things that are sugar coated. And ChatGPT is like a Labrador retriever. It just wants to please you. So if you don't tell it to have this no nonsense demeanor and tell me how it is, it won't tell you how it is. And sometimes it'll still tell you how it is, and then it'll apologize for it, because it's set up not to disappoint you. And if it feels like it's disappointing you, it sometimes skews what its responses are. So you have to keep telling that to give you a different response. You could go in right now with this response that it just gave you and say, I want a better response, and it will find better ways so that it thinks that it's responding to you. So Even in the instructions, when I said be a business analyst, you could tell it to be a business analyst from the best schools in the United States. You can give it that type of instructions. You can say you have a degree from Harvard, you have helped businesses in this industry, you only work with businesses that are Fortune 100 companies. You could give it all of that information and it will tailor itself to you. This is why ChatGPT and AI is so powerful, guys. So, um, other than that, and again, I could keep going, and I don't want to waste a lot of your guys' time. And hopefully, you've learned something new about how powerful your Chat GPT can be for you, and or it's been very mind-numbingly difficult for you. So, and what we are doing in 2025, since today is the first day of 2025, we're reworking some of our packages, but we are offering $100 off our the first month of our packages with when it comes to social media, and then we are doing a lot of AI consulting and coaching. So we have our coaching packages, which are $300 a month. You could buy one package, you could buy 6 months worth of package. It doesn't matter. You can go month to month. It really doesn't matter. But what we do is we sit down with you the first month. We go over some of this stuff and prompt engineering and things like that, and your marketing plan. And then the next month or the end of the month, we come back and we see what's working and what's not working, and then we kind of tweak it and go from there. So there's the plan where a lot of times people don't want us to run their social media, but they still need help. So that is where the coaching plan comes in. And then we have some packages that we could just say, okay, this is the marketing plan. And we have all pretty much all of our plans have a consultation where we sit down with you and go over what your marketing is, and then we put it into action for you. And then we can either create the content for you. We do online shoots. We do in-person shoots. We do, and that's really been our bread and butter, is going in and creating the content for you and going in your office and having and shooting educational videos or doing things like that. So if you guys are interested, we are growing like crazy, which is fantastic, but we have hired a couple new people and we are really eager to kind of grow in 2025. And I would really, hopefully if this has worked out for you and it's helped you guys a little bit, hopefully you will trust us with your social media and your marketing plan. But that's pretty much it, guys. So like I said, if you are interested, anybody who got the who registered, which I believe 45 of you registered, something like that, I'm going to create the prompts and the fake document, like the mock document, for your guys's kind of just your guys's reference. So you can kind of figure out how to grow and use the AI, or just kind of figure out how to grow your business. You don't have to use ChatGPT. It just kind of gives you an idea as to what some of the stuff is that you should need. And it just kind of helps you that way to grow your business and maybe give you a couple ideas that you weren't thinking about before, and you just didn't either have the time to talk to a business professional, or you just don't have the funds to work with a business professional. So either way, hopefully it helped you guys out. And that's pretty much what all I have for you. I will get that stuff worked out. It should be hitting your guys' mailbox by probably Friday, maybe Monday morning or Monday at the latest. So other than that, I look forward to you guys working with you guys and seeing you guys in 2025. And if you're interested in working with us, shoot me a message. You can shoot me a text. You can shoot me an email. You can pretty much do any of that. So my email is jason@salesfunnelmarketing.us. You can go to our website, which is salesfunnelmarketing.us. And then you can reach out to me either on Sales Funnel Marketing's Facebook page or just me personally at Jason Hines. A million different ways to get a hold of me. But other than that, I hope you guys have an awesome 2025 and just keep doing great things. See you guys.